So two studies have come out recently that are like at top of mind for me for being massive concerns. They're in relation to AI and social media respectively. The first is about social media, saying that a usage of these platforms that are kind of feeding content to, the joke we always have about how like TikTok beams flashing images into your brain, how these platforms often feel like that. It turns out they are eroding gray matter in people's brains, which is, I'm not a brain scientist, but from my understanding, that literally means it's like taking away your brain. Like it's making your brain just smaller. Like it's unironically like eating your brain away, right? So it seems the joke we've had of beaming things into your brain is actually far more accurate than we ever could have realized, which is terrifying, right? But the other one's in relation to AI, and that's that people who are using AI, using ChatGPT, I don't know the exact frequency, are leading to, I think it's like 80% less cognitive function. Like because people are using AI to do their critical thinking for them, they're turning into, they're genuinely losing cognitive function, right? Because they're using it to do their critical thinking, right? These are two horrifying stats to me. These are genuinely horrifying, especially the AI one. Because social media, we've been having discussions for a while. Do we think it's bad? There have been studies that like it could lead to depression and things like that. But I think the jury's largely been out. Like I think there was an argument to be made about like, well, it's not all bad, things like that. But AI is even scarier because this has been around. I mean, I feel like I first heard about ChatGPT in like 2023 is when like people started really getting on the platform. At least to me, like my people I know. So like that's really new. And the fact that like already it's leading to something of this magnitude is horrifying, right? And I think I'm comfortable sitting here and saying now, these things are bad. Like these things are genuinely bad. And that might seem like I'm not trying to make a joke there. I have been apprehensive to call these things bad. I've been very apprehensive to call social media and AI bad because I think it's one of the easiest things to do. I think that everybody wants to do it. I think that there's a whole lot of content out there made around like, this is how bad this new thing is. And a lot of the times history shows things aren't bad. They're just new, right? It's the easiest thing ever. And you can see in anybody, like if any writing of any older person, they're always talking about the next thing and how it's evil. I was just reading an essay today about how somebody thought the flip phone was evil when they had to get rid of their landline. And like, if only they could see what we're doing today, right? So I've been kind of apprehensive to call it bad for many real reasons, right? I think that like, even with this new information, there is still a reality here that the internet has democratized information more than possibly anything else in human history, right? Things like this make it hard to be like social media is all bad. However, with these new studies, I'm like, I'm comfortable saying these things are bad. I never want to jump the gun because I think so many things can just be reflections of us living in a world where we don't know everything, where we don't know what's going to come next. Even AI to this day, like nobody can predict what's going to come next. Social media, we can like, okay, this thing's probably going to get bigger because like, that's just how it's been going for 10 years now. AI though, it's like, okay, we don't know what even is going to happen here. It's horrifying. So like these things are genuinely scary and new. But with that, now that we do have this data, and now that we do have these pieces of information about these platforms and about AI, I'm extremely comfortable saying that these things are bad and that we all collectively need to do something about it on an individual level, right? Because I think there's a temptation here, and one that I'll entertain, to critique like the world around us about these things. Because not only is there a temptation, it's accurate. You're accurate to say, well, it's not my fault that, my brain's being rotted away when the top scientific minds of our generation, instead of working on, any sort of substantive research, are at Meta trying to come up with the most demonic ways to capture attention from the second unborn. Yeah, like it is crazy. It is insane. And I'm right there with you. I think that this is not anybody's fault except for these people who are, making the world worse actively. I believe that, and this is another thing that I cannot say for certain, I believe that like allegedly Mark Zuckerberg even covered up information on these things when he knew that there were dangers about social media, right? So I'm not going to sit here and blame individuals for this, for what's going on here, because you can't. And it's nothing, I don't think it's anything but a tragedy when somebody falls into it. I see a lot of posturing from people online being like, well, if you use AI, you're just dumb. Like only dumb people are hopping on ChatGPT. That's not true. That's just not true at all. this is being marketed as the future. This is being marketed as something that it's for smart people. And in many cases, it is making people get ahead. So it's not just dumb people. And it will be people you know eventually. I know so many people who are very smart in my life that are like all in on this AI stuff and don't see anything. They don't get, this information publicized to them that it could be bad. They don't see anything wrong with it, right? So like, this is coming. It's the next thing. And just as everybody who read books in the 90s was like, these kids watching Seinfeld are idiots and this generation just has a bunch of dumb people in it, we're wrong. And it was just that like everything is being overhauled. The same thing's gonna happen with this. I don't think that anybody's dumb for doing this. I don't think anybody's dumb for hopping on these things because they're everywhere. They're all around us. I mean, like how many billboards do you see for new AI companies now, right? So I don't blame anybody on an individual level for all this. I think though too, that we're in an unfortunate case where even though, yes, I agree that the system's to blame for all these things and that like the world around us has put us all in this situation where like there's this new technology, it's the biggest thing in the world, two new technologies that are some of the biggest things on earth that are actively destroying our brains. It is unfortunately all of our responsibilities on an individual level to get out of it. Nobody is coming to save us for this. And if somebody is coming to save us, they're probably trying to make a lot of money off of it. Like I'm seeing so many things now that are like, you should get this app that's like gonna help you get off social media, right? And that's also, those people are using your data against you still. Like everybody has an ulterior motive here, and it's a really crazy situation we're in. I unironically do believe, and maybe this is just me having kind of a boomer take on this, but I do believe that it is unfortunately our responsibilities to all get disciplined in relation to these things and just simply resist them on an individual level, right? How do we do that? I think that, one, I don't agree with the idea that the solution's to cut all these things out. Because in the same way, I was talking to the people in the 90s who were like, these kids with their TVs are like an idiotic generation, they're gonna go nowhere. Now those people are now like they're kind of out of touch now. Like we can all agree on that, right? If they didn't get a TV back in the 90s, they certainly are not aware of anything going on. These are the same people who are being duped by the New York Post into believing that they're like goblins flying around the city. I don't know if that's a reference people get outside of, no, it is. Everybody knows about the New York Post, right? It's an insane paper that has just the most insane things in it, but since it's a written word, many people still believe it to be true, right? And that's totally what's gonna happen if we're just gonna be like, we're gonna resist these things. We're not gonna go ever on social media. We're not even gonna touch AI. I don't think we'll fall out of touch in the same way, but I think that it would just lead to us being out of touch. And also, there's an unfortunately real component of this that's like, these things are just like cool sometimes. These things are fun. Yeah, it is cool that like ChatGPT can write me something or I can go to ChatGPT and give it 1,000 names and can put them in alphabetical order for me. Yeah, that just saved me 5 hours. That is cool. Which is why it's like, that's why so many people adopt these technologies, because they are cool. They are, in many cases, simply good. So, I don't want to offer, I think it's a simple, and also a flashy conclusion to be like, you got to go monk mode. You got to get off these things. You got to do a dopamine detox. That's bullshit. That's not going to work. And it's just like, isn't it interesting that in the same way, like I don't know if a lot of you are maybe too young to remember these being like a thing, because I feel like it's kind of like a more of a pre-internet thing, but like fad diets were a huge thing. Like I don't remember the name of it, but I remember at a point in my life, like every person over 30 was like, oh, I'm never eating bread again till I die. And like they would order a Caesar salad and be like, no croutons, and think that they were gonna turn into Chris Hemsworth right after, right? The same thing's now happening with social media in a way, right? Where people are like, oh, I have the solution. You're gonna do a dopamine detox and you're not gonna touch your phone for weeks and you're gonna feel great after. And many times I'm sure people do feel great after. I've never done this. I mean, I've incidentally not gone on my phone for a week when I'm away. I've been camping before and didn't have connection. And I guess, I'm sure, like thinking back, yeah, it was cool. Like I remember feeling pretty good, but in the same way that the people that went on keto just gained all the weight back right after. Was it keto? Is that the one I'm thinking of? I think it's keto. Same way they gained all the weight back afterwards because the real answer was just to improve their relationship with food as a whole. The people who are doing these dopamine detoxes are totally hopping on TikTok the next week and getting right back into it because they just need to improve their relationship with these things, with these platforms, I guess. And that feels weird and dystopian to even say you need to improve your relationship with TikTok, but the unfortunate part of it is that we do consume these things in the same way that we consume food now. You probably spend more time on a day consuming content than you do eating. I know I probably do. So like it is unfortunately a new relationship that we all need to monitor. And I think my guiding philosophy here, and I don't have all the answers here, part of the reason I'm actually making this video is because I noticed in myself that I felt like I was kind of like losing a little bit of brain power. So for context, some of you might know this, I don't really go on any of these platforms. Instagram I still like don't touch because it's just like, I think it's just kind of boring to be honest. But TikTok I've been off largely for a long time, but for some reason, being a content creator, oh my God, that sounds so cringy to even say, being somebody that makes videos on the internet, I always feel like bad when I'm out of the loop for some reason. This is a stupid thing. This isn't actually real. This is like a dumb thing that I feel this way. But I always am like when my friends mention like a new creator who I don't know, I'm like, man, like I feel like I should know that, you know? Like in the same way that somebody who like makes movies probably feels bad if they don't know a director. I feel bad when I'm like, oh, I don't know that new creator, you know? It's ridiculous, but it was like, you know what? Let me just like, I haven't been on TikTok in a year. Let me hop on it again, right? I also knew making some TikToks for these videos could be cool. And like I'm gonna be real, I don't even go on this platform that much. If I've gone on this platform an hour a day for the last 2 weeks, that'd be a lot. That'd be a ton, right? But even in that, I've like noticed my brain just fully like getting worse. And this has been reflected in these videos actually. I know I'm kind of in a unique circumstance to monitor my own like, I don't know, is cognition the word? Monitor myself a little more because I do record a video of myself every day and watch it back as I edit it. But I did fully notice that like when I was recording the last couple of videos, I felt like I was like doing worse. And then I was editing them and I was like, yeah, like I'm not being as good at displaying my ideas. And I realized like it is because I've been scrolling even an hour a day. Like I felt that way, right? So, you know, this is not at all me saying I have an answer to that is the point. I don't have an answer to how we should resist these platforms. I think maybe, you know, there will be somebody that has a definitive answer one day. Maybe we'll study this, but I don't think there is one right now. So I'm just gonna suggest my answer because it's the best I got. I think that like my guiding idea around all this is making sure that these platforms serve you instead of you serving them, right? We don't even realize it, but we totally get into states of just serving these platforms 100%. Like when you're on your 100th Instagram reel and like, you know, being sold on different products and, you know, like just going through the motions, unconsciously swiping through, the platform's consuming you at that point. Like you're not even, like so many people I know too are like, yeah, I just scrolled for 3 hours. I didn't have fun. Like I hated that. And that's unfortunately a very real experience now because these platforms are totally consuming you way more than you have any sort of consumption of them anymore. So to me, the guiding principle here is making sure that every piece of technology in my life serves me. Never the other way around. Not in a million years do I want to be the other way around. Do I need to log on to TikTok once a day to post for these, you know, this channel? Yes, I do. I think that's a good thing to do. I think it's probably a smart thing to do, right? And that is the platform serving me because that can lead to me getting view and the number go up and I feel good inside, right? So that's great. On the other hand though, if I find it in any way where this platform is no longer serving me, I should get off of it. Like I should not go to it anymore. And I think YouTube's actually a very good example of this. Like there's obviously an irony to me making a video like this while I actively make content for social media. But I will say YouTube is my main platform. I still do think YouTube's a net good. I really do. I think that their policies with data are scary, but I think that overall, like what it does, outside of YouTube Shorts rather, what it does for all of us in terms of education is actually good. I think YouTube's totally a good thing for the world, right? Because it's a great platform where it's much harder for YouTube to consume you than it is for you to consume YouTube because it's such an active experience. Like when you're going on YouTube, you need to click select on the next thing. You need to make the active decision to keep going. There's no feed that can just suck you in and make you go forever. So I do believe YouTube's a net good, right? And I think we need to, in some regard, turn every platform into YouTube, right? We need to, and this is the annoying discipline part that comes in. We all need to take our conscious when we're scrolling and be like, okay, do I actually want to be doing this? Is this making me feel good? Largely, I think that's impossible, right? I think that I've tried it at multiple points in my life, and it's never worked because I don't think these platforms are made to enable you to do that at all. So I would say that unless you're going on some of these to post, I don't know if I'd do it for some of them, or like, at least if you are doing it, make sure it's an extremely limited thing. In the same way that you only will be like, I'll watch TV when my show is on, maybe watch TikTok through an hour a night kind of thing, you know? And even that I find to be maybe that's also bad. You know, maybe it is like still not a good thing, but that's the only thing I can think of, right? In terms of like controlling consumption. I think though too, like there's the other side to this of like, not only not only do you need to limit your consumption of social media, I do think it's important to make sure you're consuming other media that is good for you, right? Namely books. I think books are the main thing here. If you know, scrolling is the disease here, I think that books and reading are definitely the antidote to that disease. So I do recommend reading. Read anything. Literally just sitting down and reading is gonna heal your attention span. It's gonna like actually be good for your brain. People who read into their like 90s, I think I've heard this before, like don't get Alzheimer's as much. Like your brain will work better into your later years if you are a daily reader, right? So for that reason, I already do think I like by gut instinct, again, I'm not a scientist for any of this stuff, so don't listen to me on any of it, but also listen to me because I'm saying the truth here. I think that like that just makes sense. If already reading can preserve your brain from deteriorating, it makes no sense that it can't also preserve your brain from deteriorating when Mark Zuckerberg's new Destroy Your Brain Ray 5000 comes out, right? So I do say like read no matter what it takes. And so many people now are like, I can't read 10 pages without like scrolling. Like fix that. Like unironically, first of all, read the 10 pages. 10 pages is better than 0 pages, right? But also fix that. In the same way that like when somebody can't run or can't walk through like a town without getting winded, we're like, you should work out to work on this. And everybody goes, yeah, that makes sense. It should be the same thing. If somebody's like, I can't read because my attention span is not good enough, the response should never be like, okay, try audiobooks. Be like, fix that, like work on that. Because that's the example of it. That's not a normal thing. That is not good. In the same way that if you had a new social device that was making so you couldn't walk anymore, you would be like, this is concerning. And the same way that cigarettes make it so you can't breathe, so you're like, let's not smoke these anymore. Social media is making it so you can't read. That's an essential thing. People are getting functionally illiterate now. That's so essential, is to make sure that you are not one of these people, because that's dangerous. That's a dangerous thing to be doing. That's a dangerous precedent to set. Like, there's another thing I saw that like a lot of Gen Z parents don't read to their kids anymore, because like they are too like they don't have the attention span to read to a child. Which, first of all, respect. It's tough reading to. I don't know if you guys have ever done it. It's not easy reading to a kid. But on the other hand, like that's also like, imagine how sad it would be if your mom sat you down right now and was like, hey, like I know I never read to you ever as a kid. It's because I was just really addicted to this thing on my phone and like couldn't do it. Like learn to read. Not learn to read in terms of like you're illiterate, but like if you're struggling with it, just you got it. Like that's an important thing. That's an important thing you should work on. And I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, this is like okay. Like it's not a good thing if you can't sit down and like finish a book. You know, you should definitely work on that. I have struggles with it too even. I mean, I started reading years ago and I still feel like I like am worse off than if I was never in this generation. That was so cringy. Like I was born in the wrong generation. But I feel like if I was never on social media for 10 years before I really got into reading heavily, like I think I'd be like have so much better comprehension than I do now. And I deeply regret it. I really do. Like I couldn't understand what it meant to hop on Instagram, you know, when I was 10 years old or whatever, whenever I got on that app. But like there's so, you know, I don't know. It's just something that's like sad to look back on. So to recap as we wrap up here, one, make these apps serve you. We didn't talk about AI too much here, but AI is the same way, right? AI can be a useful tool and you will fall behind if you don't do it. Because if you're like, I'll never log into ChatGPT, and you decide to alphabetize that list of 100 names by hand, you're just gonna be going way slower than everybody else you know, right? And that's not, and it won't even benefit your brain to alphabetize these names, right? So like when you have menial tasks that AI can do for you, sure, outsource them, right? I've used it for spreadsheets and stuff, data crunching, stuff like that. Like that's great. You know, have it check your grammar or stuff. Like these things are not terrible. There are ways to use it that are useful, but it always must serve you. If you ever for a second notice you are taking, you know, there's two sets to getting data, actually getting the data and receiving it and interpreting it. If you get the data through AI, that's fine. Like that's okay, you know. Most fields and most lives, data compilation is not like a skill that you learn too heavily anyways. But like if you ever find yourself using the interpret part of that process and outsourcing that to AI, that's when things get bad. Never let AI critically think for you. Always critically think for yourself. That's number one, right? Social media, make it serve you. If you're using social media anything other than the way you would use a television show, you're doing too much and you are being consumed by social media, right? Make sure you have these platforms, these versions of entertainment, I guess, these mediums of entertainment, they are your servants. You are not theirs. You got it in the same way that you have never been like, oh my God, I can't stop like reading this comic book right now, and you get like, you know, controlled by it. It's scary and crazy that social media can just do that to us now. Don't let that happen. If you ever notice it happening even a little bit, delete the app, run. Like it's horrifying. It's so dystopian. And read. If you don't have time to read, check your screen time. Yes, you do. If you don't have time to read and you're watching this, stop, don't watch these. Go read instead. If you're like I don't know how long this has gone for by now. I'm gonna guess like 15-ish, right? If you just sat for 15 minutes and watched this and like, I don't have time to read, yeah, you do. You just wasted 15 minutes on me. I'm not as valuable as a book. The worst book on earth will give you more than me, because I'm just a guy who's talking shit to a camera right now, right? So go read instead of watching this, and go read instead of watching the next video you're about to click on, because you do have time. Read. This is the painting. I don't know. Okay, I like what I did here in concept, right? So what I want to do is I liked, looking back at yesterday's painting, I kind of liked what I did where it was sort of a surrealist object with it fading away, because I realized like this is very indicative of how I was feeling while recording this, where I felt like I was actually losing sort of like my grip on things, right? So I wanted to more intentionally replicate that in this painting, right? I wanted to have a very strange, don't know what's going on, sort of like amorphous mound come up, distorted by the wash, which is happening for sure, and then I want to have one very clear pyramid at the top of it, of like, get cut through the noise kind of thing. And you know, now that it's intentional, I don't think it's as good. I don't know how I feel about it. I liked the process that I did on this, which is something weird to me. I don't usually end up saying that with art, but I like the process much more on this than on many other paintings. I liked that I was like very directly going in here and being like, I'm going to rough out this mound, I'm going to distort the mound, I'm going to try and rebuild it and fail to rebuild it, because that's very much how it feels to, you know, rot your brain away with the internet, right? But like, I don't know if I like the visual appeal of it. And this is, I think, I think this is indicative of where I'm at now in my development and learning, teaching myself to paint, where I do think that I know enough about the process to give myself some better things to do. Like, I think the average level of what I can do now is way better than when I started. I know it's way better than when I started because I couldn't even pick up a brush, right? But I don't think I'm at the skill level yet where I can actually execute on any sort of cool idea I have. Like, if a skilled artist did this, I think it'd actually be really cool. So that's where I feel I'm at. That's where I want to keep working on. Go check this out on Instagram and TikTok. Man, such an ironic way to end this video, but don't scroll, just go there, like it, follow, and leave. Actually, don't follow the Instagram. I don't know. How do I, okay, so do